Spooey, you should really like mirror your picture because G shirt is backwards, you know. Just,
I see a question mark.
oh yeah.
I think I don't have spooie added or something.
How do
No,
you
I do
get
not.
the video to go through on Skype?
I think you need a video webcam. Wait, am I here? Can you see me?
I
I
see
can, yeah,
glasses.
yeah, I see you in glasses. But see, it's because I don't have spooie added, which I'm doing right now. But
I don't
it's
think I
being
have
very
you
slow.
added either. I should probably
Well, I don't. I think we have to have each other added to do that.
You guys
So
should do each other.
that's
And by
yeah.
that I mean add each other on Skype, obviously.
Right. Yes.
Fornication for all. Oh, I should pause this if I wanna. There we go.
It says you need a subscription for group video calls.
Ah,
Well, do I want to do that?
do you want to give Microsoft money? I don't know, Spooey.
They
That's
already have a lot of my money. I have both of their game systems here.
Yes. It's too bad Apple never made a game system. Oh wait, they did. I forgot about that one. Then again,
They made a couple of them actually. One of them is actually outselling Nintendo and Sony right now.
Really?
I get it. I see what you did there.
What kind of controller does it have?
It's like the DS. You can touch things and it moves.
You still not seeing what he did there?
No, I'm trying to picture because all of my favorite DS games don't rely on the touchpad whatsoever. But
What are your favorite DS games?
Honestly, none of mine do either.
Come on, you love Kirby's Canvas Curse.
I have literally not played a Kirby game since the SNES.
I played Superstar, which was okay.
I don't know. The series just really isn't my cup of tea, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I found that out when I played Superstar because it's a really easy game. I think the appeal of it is that you're supposed to, experiment with all the different power-ups and mixing and matching and just, have fun, beating the crap out of enemies with the different powers. But there's no the level design is like linear, there's
Yeah, it
no
really doesn't work in a
puzzles, no
platform.
challenge to the level design.
Yeah, I think the game that really did that well was Brave Fencer Musashi on the PS1, which is actually one of my all-time favorites.
Right.
It's kind of like a combination of old school Zelda games and Kirby,
Mhm.
because it's got like the whole top-down. It's imagine Zelda with Kirby powers as as like an action RPG.
Zelda. Yeah, I heard somebody brought that up recently, Brave
I have
Fencer,
the
and I was
second
like,
one.
that's Ryan's game.
Yeah. See, I have both of them. The second one really isn't as good as the first, but I don't know. The first one is a lot of fun.
I think my brother might actually have the first one.
Hmm.
He's a big SquareSoft guy. So. Going back many, many, many years.
Hmm.
And by that I mean Rad Racer years.
Rad Racer.
That's a thing?
Yeah, that was before Final Fantasy.
Oh.
So.
See, I used to be into Squaresoft too until they stopped being good, I guess would be a nice way of
No,
saying
you
it.
weren't, Ryan. You were never into them.
Oh.
Well, now
I'm sorry, I
IDOS is part of them.
apologize.
So,
Oh, is it?
I think we should introduce ourselves.
Okay.
We kind of had a cold open there, to use TV terminology.
Yes.
Um,
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad was not the first. You know what?
I know, but when I think cold opens, I generally think of Breaking Bad because it does them so well.
Eh.
I think that and It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, Always Sunny does do them, but that's because of the episode title coming up like right after them.
Yeah. I'm not going to set you on fire.
Naturally, I
Frank,
think of
that's
this radio,
on
but
fire.
that's just me.
Anyway, so I'm Andrew, Andrex. I go both ways, as has been rumored about me.
That's what I've heard. But I've never
Spooie, you
seen-
started that rumor, so don't even talk to me right now.
What?
Um,
So anyway, continue, please.
Spooie, why don't you introduce yourself, since you like talking.
I'm Spooie, and I like talking. My name is Chris, but in the imaginary world of the internet, I am Spooie.
The internet isn't imaginary; it's real. In a
I think
way.
it's like kind of half real, half imaginary.
I can go along with that, yeah. We also have Ryan here.
Yes. Also known as No Therefore 13 on the board.
Is it
Yeah.
no there or not here?
It's No There.
I
It's
thought
a
it was
really-
not here all these
Yeah,
years.
yeah, I know. It really is a really stupid inside joke I had with a friend that I don't even talk to anymore, which just lets you know how long ago it was when I made this username. And it really is not funny, so I'm not even going to bother explaining it.
For a while, I actually thought it was No, the Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
No, oh, I see. But then, what about the 13?
I don't know.
Yes.
Joke failed.
Well, what's 13 when you add up each individual digit?
Oh my gosh. This is some Illuminati stuff right here.
Yeah, so- I don't want to go over the heads of our audience, though. The tens of people listening right now.
That might be
Okay.
the funniest joke you've ever told, Spooey.
I wasn't even trying. How sad is that? I just learned how to count today, and I just wanted to show off.
Well, hey, there's 3 types of people in this world: people who can count and people who can't.
That's a binary joke. No, the binary joke is there are 2 types of people in this world. Actually, I forget how that joke goes, but it's something like that. Any-
Binary. I thought the binary joke was 101, 10, 001, 100, 011, 0110, 01, 0.
11101.
I think that's like
I just hope that's not going to get us banned from iTunes or wherever we're going to one day wind up with this podcast.
it's very possible because I think you just spelled out a 3-letter
Triangle.
word in ASCII with that binary. So I'm not going to say what the word is, but yeah, it's.
I don't know. I don't know
It's pretty bad.
any binaries, so I was just saying random ones and O's. Listen, you say iTunes as if the only place that our recordings will ever end up. It'll be physical copy, but it'll be like that warehouse at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I put these podcasts where no one will find them.
And then the last movie they found them.
Well,
Shut up.
they didn't find them. They cracked the case.
But they found the warehouse.
Yeah.
We all thought it was aliens. Who knew? Spielberg had it this whole time. Him and Lucas.
That movie. Fuck that movie.
I tried to pretend that movie didn't exist for like 3 years. Like every time someone brought it up, I'd be like, "They didn't make a 4th Indiana Jones movie. What are you talking about?"
Kind of like how there's only 3 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Why
Phantom
do they-
Menace, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Revenge of the
I mean, it's a shame that George Lucas, was in that car accident in the 80s and, can only speak in single syllables.
First it was how dare he change our movies, and then it was how dare he make new movies.
It's a shame
You're
that he
breaking
got.
my heart, Anakin.
No. So it's been a while since the last show. I think it's been about a good 3 weeks, probably.
Yeah, it was around September 1st.
Hey, did you know we've actually had some announcements happen since then?
Oh, we have?
Yeah, Nintendo actually announced that they're releasing a brand new system this year. Have you guys heard about this?
Get out of here! I thought they were going third party. That's what everybody was telling me.
That's what I was thinking, but apparently Nintendo knows all because they just keep plugging away and being the only company that I think that actually made money over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps.
If you look at the charts, it's kind of depressing actually. So Microsoft, sunk billions into the first Xbox, and then Sony sunk billions into the PS3, which kind of balance out any profits they've made with the PS2 and 360.
And then they pushed themselves further into the red with the Vita.
That thing, I don't know what they were thinking with that thing.
Listen, I think eventually it will develop an audience, because I think it's following the same trend that the PS3 set. I think it will develop an audience eventually if they keep trying to focus on games for it. But right now there's like really no justification in buying one.
It's pretty grim, dude. I mean, the sales are at Dreamcast levels. I mean, I've looked at the charts.
Didn't the Dreamcast sell a lot at launch?
Nothing has really been announced recently. I mean, there's like Soul Sacrifice maybe, but everything at TGS was just ports. I mean, I'm serious. If you look at Sony's TGS press conference, it was PSP ports or PS3 ports.
Wait a minute, there's a press conference?
Yeah, they had one at TGS a couple days ago.
Where's that? Is that on YouTube?
Tokyo?
I don't know. I caught a live blog of it.
That's like in Japan or something, right?
Yeah, it's like,
You wouldn't watch it unless you could understand Japanese anyways, so.
Glorious Nippon.
Well, I did watch like 20 minutes of Nintendo's press conference for the Wii U from Japan.
Oh yeah? Was that the 3 a.m. one?
Maybe. I watched it on YouTube. They're all on there, all three of them.
Yeah,
I actually preferred the European one to the American one.
Yeah, you were saying that. The American one was weird because since it was like in front of a bunch of journalists, they had to show off the TV thing, which is American exclusive apparently. Maybe Canada.
I heard Europe is getting screwed out of the censor bar.
Not surprising. They got screwed out of the charger cable for the 3DS XL. So, but hey, every 3DS comes with a 2 GB stick. So.
Okay. Now, I'm probably not the first to make this joke, or rather, like, connection, or I probably won't be the last either.
Mm-hmm.
But when you guys heard Wii U, did you immediately think of Ling from Kung Pao? Because I did.
Who?
You ever seen Kung Pao?
Enter the Fist?
No.
Yes. Oh,
I saw it a long time ago.
Wee!
I actually thought of what the sequel system to Wii U is, because since they're building off of Wii, I thought maybe the next one would be called Wii U 2, which would either be spelled T-O-O or have some kind of Bono connection. Not quite sure how that works.
Is it Bono? I always thought it was Bono.
Isn't that? I thought it was Bono. I thought it was Sonny Bono.
How about we just skip the whole name thing and just call him what he is, a douchebag. A douchebag who does good things, but he's still a douchebag.
There are lots of douchebags. We even have one of them on this podcast.
Oh! The nerd and the... Yeah.
That was one of our best episodes.
Wait, you weren't referring to me?
No. Of course not.
Oh, of course not.
Did you not listen to the Nerd and the Douchebag podcast?
I'm sure at this point it's just a blur,
Yeah.
Your rockstar lifestyle's catching up with you, spooie.
Well, on this Wii U system, apparently there was this one specific game that Nintendo kind of announced. And it kind of got some of the PS3, Xbox 360 crowd in a little tizzy,
It got it was blood in the water.
Now, why Nintendo Land caused that much of a fuss, I don't understand.
People like to get mad at video games. Like, I've realized that after being on the internet for 5 minutes. And it's just, people look for any excuse to get mad at video games. They really do.
Yeah. I think
And not just video games, honestly, everything.
You know what? Sports are the worst. I mean,
Oh,
it goes
yeah.
like sports fanboys, video game fanboys, and then like the other tiers of fanboys, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
And don't even get me started on fangirls.
Dude, I bought 4 sports games today.
Why?
But we'll get into that a little bit later. But we'll see how it's done.
Can't wait.
I bought a game that I know I'm going to regret buying, but I want to play it anyhow.
If you say Super Mario Galaxy, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
No, just today. I got Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, I used at GameStop, and I'm going to take all the sleeve, then take the sleeve and the disc out and wash the case, because it's got, like, some sort of rank. It's a used game from GameStop. It's got shit on it, okay? Plain and simple.
Used games from GameStop. What kind of crazy bastard would buy those?
They didn't have new ones, and all the ones on Amazon were like $55, and I'm like, I'm not paying
That's
$55 for a Wii game, especially one that's been, out so long and apparently has some silly ass shit.
You guys want to know how many used PlayStation 2 games I bought from GameStop in the last 5 days?
No, we'll get to that later. We're talking about Tales right now.
Okay.
I was thinking tonight, because I've been around the internet block a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
You've been to that site, Andrex?
I've been to many that sites.
I would just I would delete those cookies.
Yeah,
You know,
I did it in incognito. It's fine.
could we consider Project G Forum to be a that site? I really wish we could just,
We need
we
to
could
be more
after all those-
controversial, is what we need to be.
I don't know. It's the kind of site that, you don't want your girlfriend to know that you moderate.
Yeah.
I kid. I'm not ashamed of you guys.
Yeah. Anyways,
We've had some interesting new posts from people who seem to want to show up for just one post and we never see them again. And
I know, and they're like, look at this dog fucking this lady. I'm like, I don't want to see that.
I never got to see that. You
don't
must
you
have
have
deleted
cats?
it before I
Come
saw
on.
it.
Wait, I love the way you word it. Never got to see that.
I mean, I never was able to witness the horror of that image, which I totally do not want to see under
I
any
mean, come on,
circumstances.
Viagra for like $4.69 a pill. I can get them much cheaper than that.
I am excited though because it does seem like we have some Japanese spammers now, which is kind of cool in its own way.
Glorious Nippon.
But anyways, I plugged all the holes in the dam as far as I can see them, so we shouldn't even be getting any more of those posts unless they've joined before when I made the change. If they joined before, then it's possible they might be able to post some things, but
Wait.
we'll just ban them.
Every
What
now
about
and then I see like certain guests on the site, and I'll actually see like a registered user I've never seen before. So I'll go to click the link, and it's still somebody I've never seen post, but I'll notice like they registered 4 months prior, but they're logged in.
Yeah, it's
I'm
weird.
wondering if it's, if that's
No,
connected.
listen. We get lots of lurkers, okay? Because we are constantly talking about interesting shit. We are like a spectacle.
Is there a
of the
Doctor
game
Who
forum.
game coming out?
Doctor
Is there?
Who game.
Doctor Who game?
There was
That
a
interest-
couple ones that came out, but they were all super awful.
They were based on the Fox film.
No.
Yeah.
Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh, Tales. So is the
Tell us your
consensus
tale.
in the Tales series, is it that the best gameplay is Graces and the best story is Symphonia? I mean,
Okay, now
you'll probably disagree with that, Ryan, because you have your
yeah.
own taste, but that's just the
Well,
general feeling I've get.
when it comes down to it, Symphonia is very well loved because it was like the first 3D Tales to really make it big over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think like Eternia or Destiny 2 was on the PS1 and 2 or something, and that didn't really sell much. But yeah, Symphonia was that's why it's so well loved, because of that, and it really is a good game. If you enjoy Abyss, I would highly recommend you get Symphonia because it's a lot of fun and the story is pretty cool. But as far as lore goes, that's where I think Abyss really wins is lore and probably character development. Honestly, each Tales game brings something different to the table.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Legendia on the PS2 has just an amazing soundtrack, whereas the battle system was kind of a step back from the rest.
What about Tales of Fantasia?
That was like the first one, I think.
What about the Game Boy Advance version of Tales of Fantasia?
I don't.
When did the series start?
I have that one.
Wait, what theory?
When did the series start?
Oh, series. I'm pretty sure back in the 90s. Here, let me look it up.
Because it seems like a fairly recent one, or maybe it's just because it got popular recently.
Yeah, well, they also it was big, but it's been big in Japan for quite a while.
Well, it's a JRPG series, so,
Yeah,
you know.
Here.
I had never actually heard of it until the GameCube release, when about 300,000 GameCube owners in unison said, "Oh my God, there's an RPG."
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, Fantasia came out in '95, and that was the first one.
I see.
I actually have the Game Boy Advance one. I think I got it on clearance at Kmart many, many years ago. I have not opened it, but I have it.
Okay, then. That's nice to know.
So,
with Symphonia as well, too.
For the people who haven't been paying attention to the forums, I don't know why you'd be listening to this if you hadn't. I've been playing Tales of the Abyss for 3DS, and
it's my favorite game.
I like the battle system. That's about all I can say
It's
for
your
it.
favorite Tales game.
For right now, listen. For right now, I just posted earlier. I don't know if you read it, but
Yeah,
for
I
right
did.
now, yeah, the battle system is about all you're really gonna enjoy, because it really is exposition, and it really does get slow until you probably like get out of Batical.
Yeah.
For the
I've
second
come to
time.
read that war is bad, right?
Yeah. It's
The
like
message you're having right now.
the main
People
character
die
is
or
like.
killed.
I think I could excuse the main character being such a jerk ass if he was like younger, but he's like 17, and it's
But-
like, you know, he's doing that like douchebag thing when, like, you know, showing his abs off, like, oh.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the whole what do you call that amnesia thing kind of leads into that too.
Oh yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
they're going the
That's-
amnesia route as well, huh?
As well, but you know.
I thought he was kidnapped by the kingdom that he was in at the start of the game from Malkuth.
Yeah,
But-
that's what they.
But apparently it was a botched kidnapping, and he was always from the other kingdom or whatever.
You got it. Just watch it or just play the game. I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't want to, you know.
Those last 10 minutes of the game are going to come, Andrex, and you're going to be like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest game ever."
No, it's the real turnaround part is like at about, I'd say, 10 hours in, where you reach the big like where the plot really picks up. Like it starts going uphill, and then it kind of slowly goes downhill, and then once you get to a certain part, the whole story just gets fucking awesome.
I'll take your word on it. I mean, I bought the game, so I guess I'm in it for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's actually a very well-produced game. Like, I was kind of surprised. The only part I don't really like is the cutout pictures talking portions.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
you can't even skip them either. It's like you can skip the actual dialogue of people talking, but you can't skip,
You
like,
don't
this
have to.
text stuff.
You don't have to, though. You don't have to even use them, because you have to hit a button. The skits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even have to.
But I'm
open
the
'em.
kind of person that always, you know, checks that
Yeah.
stuff out. So.
Well, see, the thing is, though, is the Japanese version they're fully like voiced, and they cut some costs when they were doing the English voices.
Oh,
and
you weren't kidding, because some of this voice acting is,
yeah.
yeah.
I think the best ones you really get in the game are probably Luke and I don't know, definitely Largo is one of the better ones.
Wait, didn't he die? He just got killed.
Oh, no, he survived.
Okay, well, the game also has a Johnny Young Bosch, so I can't.
Oh yeah,
The voice acting isn't. When he's in the mix, it's enjoyable at least.
yeah.
Does he
I
call
think
out any of his ranger calls?
No, but he does say Bankai a lot.
What does that mean?
That was a Bleach joke.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
he's the main character in Bleach, which is like probably his most
Oh.
famous role.
Oh, he voices that?
Yeah, he's Ichigo.
Oh.
I think out of all the characters, you'll notice that the most groan-worthy voice acting usually comes from Tyr.
She's okay so far, but it's obviously she's like, the love interest kind of thing.
Tyr?
I wouldn't really. Yes, you just play the game.
Well,
How do you spell that?
Mew is
AR.
freaking
It's,
annoying.
it's short for Mysterica. You learn later.
Uh, and she
I'm
wants to.
completely lost in this one.
Oh, you're not the only one, Spooey.
Listen, I have literally played through this game at least 4 or 5 times. So yeah,
You should
Forgive
play the
me
3DS version. I'm actually
I'm
surprised.
gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Like
a whole
the-
bunch at my local GameStop. I'm just.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't really have any money right now,
Hmm.
except for the money I just spent on Symphonia. Two.
Right.
I just blew all my money.
But
I mean the loading times are really short. I can it's really well suited for a handheld, which I was kind of surprised by. Like the battles are short. You can since you have to press a button to progress conversations and cutscenes, you can just close it whenever you want, pick it back up.
see, what I really thought was cool that they did was the way they used the bottom screen in combat, which you probably really won't do that until later on. But basically, you can hotkey moves by other party members to one of the 4 buttons on the bottom screen.
Hmm.
So let's say you're running low on health, and you can hotkey one of Tyr's healing moves to your button, and all you gotta do is touch
Ah.
the screen there, and yeah.
See, I've been letting the AI take care of everything.
Yeah, see that later on, strategy does really become, a part of it. Whereas back in the PS3 or PS2 version, instead of the touchscreen, you would just use the right stick to.
That would have been annoying.
Honestly, it wasn't though. It really wasn't because you didn't use the right stick at all in combat.
The combat right now is I'm basically just button mashing my way through it.
Yeah, you'll have that for the first while, but once you reach some of the boss fights, the one where you first fight Sink and Largo is such a pain in the ass. Because they will totally double team you. It's awful.
Speaking of double teaming, can we talk about something about this game? Why is every dude look like a chick?
I can see that with Luke and Jade maybe.
Luke, Jade, Ion.
Oh,
Wait,
well,
it's
I forgot about Ion.
Wait,
Yeah.
I thought
it's a
Ion was
guy
a
and his
girl,
name is
and I
Jade.
usually have a good sense for this
Yes.
kind of thing.
Yeah, Ion is plus he's voiced by a girl too. Apparently it's the same girl who voiced Naz in the old Ed, Edd and Eddie cartoons.
Right. I mean, that's common for young boys in anime or whatever, but
Yeah.
she doesn't even try to make it sound like boy at all.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. No.
Well, howdy there, everybody.
Okay. Yeah. Ion definitely is very girly looking. Here, I even have a funny picture about that. I'm gonna upload the tiny pic here.
Don't use Tiny Pic, dude.
Why?
Didn't you see the thread I bumped where it was what kind of Pokemon are you? And then Tiny Pic
I'm not
reposted
posting
Chad's
it.
thing.
I'm posting it on the forum. I'm just sending it to you right now.
They rehosted it to a pretty funny picture, actually.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
Click, click, click.
Where the hell is it?
So, Spooey, you bought a bunch of games, you were saying?
I did. In fact,
You
I-
always buy a bunch of games, then you never play them. Why
you
do
have
you?
a
Well,
problem, Spooey.
here's the thing that's gonna just it's a sickness. It's a mental thing. For years, I've generally stayed away from buying used disc games. And the shock and horror knowing the fact that in the next year, it's possible that GameStop is going to be getting rid of their PS2 games. They very few places still carry the GameCube games. They don't take them in anymore, but they're basically trying to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the rumor is the same thing is going to be coming for GameStop. And I said, why don't I go and just check and see, what's there? And a couple of weeks back, I went in at a GameStop I had never been in before. And I picked up 5 games, and then 2 weeks later, I'm back and got 5 more games. And then I thought, maybe it's not so bad having used games for like $1 a piece.
Mm.
So I went back, and in the last 5 days, I bought 68 additional used PlayStation 2 games.
Jeez.
Oh, did you click the picture?
Yeah, I did.
See, that's wait, no, and then this one I especially love because it's essentially Tales of the Abyss in a nutshell.
You should post it in this chat
Oh,
and not
Yeah,
our
yeah.
private one-on-one chat. But
okay,
I
I
got
didn't
it.
think. Okay.
Don't
Oh, I
send
forgot
your
that it
new
did that.
pictures, damn it.
Yeah, that is Tales of the Abyss in a nutshell.
Fun K. I'm serious. I'm watching Eureka 7 every Saturday on Toonami, and the parallels with the terminology used there and in this game is just sort of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
They just dump like so much.
See, the thing is though is that they dump it at first and then they slowly explain it throughout the game.
Well, that's what Eureka 7 did too. So that's what I was expecting, but
Is that
it
how
was
you
just
say
kind of
it?
disconcerting at first. It's like
That's how you say it, Eureka 7?
the character, they call her Eureka 7.
Oh, okay. Continue.
Because the anime's weird. But then again, this game is kind of weird in anime. I have a feeling they just like switched S for F like throughout a bunch of things, like phonic. That could be like Sonic.
Sonic.
Oh my gosh. The Hedgehog,
Yeah.
who's
One
The
thing-
best thing
One
alive.
thing you really got to remember about this game though is if they ask you, do you want to learn about this, like customization or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you got to say yes,
Well,
or else
yeah.
you will have no idea what you're doing
I
later.
always do, yeah.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm still kind of like, I got this like ring or something, and I'm not entirely sure what it does. Like,
You're talking about capacity cores, aren't you?
yeah, the cores. Mm.
Yeah, those basically you equip one. You'll get more throughout as you play the game,
Mm-hmm.
and basically you equip them to characters, and it'll whatever based on whatever like stat it's pointed to. Like if
Mhm.
it's got 1 point in physical attack, in physical defense or whatever. Every time you level up, you'll get extra points in those based on which one they're wearing.
Mm.
That's why it's really really effective if you put a lot of speed into Luke.
So to use Pokemon terminology, it's like a macho brace, although those decrease speed in order to buff up attack, I think.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. Yeah. Like if he's wearing a capacity core that has 2 points in physical attack, then when he levels up, his stats will go up 2 more in physical attack than they normally would.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. I'm digging the battle system, so it's good to know there's some depth there.
Especially when you get into I don't remember what they're called, but there's these 4 color-coded things that you can equip to each art that can
Mhm.
add special effects to them.
Right. I'm still kind of fuzzy on arts and phonics and.
Yeah. Just wait. Just wait until you get to the field of phonons, because you have absolutely no idea what the hell they're talking about. That adds a lot of depth to the battle system. So
Although I think Luke was he was like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" a couple times already. So.
well, yeah,
that's,
that's kind of their method of explaining things, because Luke doesn't know anything.
quote unquote explaining.
Yes.
Did somebody tell him that he was his father?
Not
No.
yet.
And dead silence fills the chat.
Out of date Star Wars joke.
I don't make that many Star Wars jokes. You gotta keep them, you gotta take them for what they are.
I think you made a couple
Have I?
in past podcasts.
I tend to think Star Wars is kind of one of the most overrated fan base kind of things out there, you know?
I mean, I like the original films, but I don't groove to them.
I
Like,
didn't have much of a problem with the newer films.
See, I grew up with the original trilogy, and I was so excited to go see The Phantom Menace when I was a kid.
The Phantom Menace.
And I liked it as a kid, but it was because there was a kid doing cool stuff. And then now I watch the movies, and the dialogue is so bad.
Yeah.
Especially in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, you're breaking my heart, Annie. And it's like, what the hell?
You
This is
sent
the
him
same-
here to kill me.
This is the same series that had I Love You, I Know.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
That was improvised though. That wasn't
I know. Well,
Lucas writing.
but still, you gotta, you got that. I'm gonna hold these games to the same.
Is some of it? Don't you think some of it can be attributed to just the bad acting?
That could be it too.
Have you guys seen the like 2-hour reviews of each of the movies? It was
That's
Red
the
Letter
way.
Media.
No, I actually saw the movies myself.
The reviews are pretty.
Didn't really need to see the review.
They're more entertaining than the movies themselves. I have
Well,
to say.
watching paint dry is pretty fun too.
No, they're pretty
Especially
good.
purple.
I would watch the Phantom Menace one. It's like an hour. But he goes into like a lot of why the movies don't work that much. But there's some comedy interspersed too. And when you first watch it, it'll probably be like, this guy speaks really weird, but you'll grow
I
to
have
like
watched some Red Letter Media stuff.
it. Yeah, you'll grow to like it.
Do you guys remember? I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Do you guys remember? When did Phantom Menace come out? 2002, something like that.
99, I think.
99, I think.
Okay. I remember there was that one guy who basically ripped the movie and then re-edited Jar Jar out of all the footage.
Oh,
Really-
Elijah
really-
Wood. Not
You're-
even kidding. Elijah Wood has an edit of the 3 movies together into one. Where
You're making this up, Ryan.
I am not kidding. Elijah Wood. I don't think it's available, but he did an edit of basically he edited the Phantom Menace down to like 10-15 minutes of this one movie. And it's basically all 3 of the movies turned into one that is actually presentable.
That might be worth watching. I think I watched a fan edit of Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions that did like the same thing. It's pretty cool.
Well, those were originally supposed to be one movie.
They were, and they put all their best stuff into Reloaded, and
Was it supposed
Yeah.
to be
yeah,
originally one movie?
it
No, I'm
was.
lying.
And then they thought ka-ching, and kind of like The Hobbit, Why don't we turn this 300-page book into 2
7
movies?
movies.
No. I got a better idea. 3 movies. That is the best freaking idea I've heard ever.
See, I'm pretty sure that there was supposed to be a 3rd Matrix movie that ended up being one of the subplots or one of the different plots for the Animatrix.
Which one are you thinking about?
I don't know. I haven't seen the Animatrix yet. I have it on DVD, but
The biggest one that I could think of that they could turn into another movie was the Second Renaissance, but that would be a prequel more than anything.
I think that was what they were gonna do, was a prequel.
But
You guys
what's that?
remember the video games that came out, right?
Enter the Matrix?
Enter the Matrix, and I think the other one was Path to Neo.
Path to Neo came
Yeah,
out
Path
in
to
like
Neo, yeah.
2006 or something.
I heard that both of those were like side stories to the actual movies, but the Wachowski brothers, quote brothers, actually made it in mind with the movies so that people who bought the game could actually see like what's really going on in the universe. So to actually get the full grasp of the movies, you're supposed to have played the games too.
Right. So Enter the Matrix was definitely a huge tie-in with Reloaded. It goes into like Niobe and what her team's all about. Path to Neo is more like a bunch of what ifs. Like, what if Neo had gotten onto the roof in the beginning of the first movie instead of going back inside and getting caught by Smith? Apparently Kind of turns out the same way, I think. He just meets, Trinity and everybody earlier.
So, which pill did he end up taking again?
I don't know. I don't know if the game just ends if you choose to take the blue pill or if it's even a choice.
That would be funny though if that's like the first stage and then it tells you like which one do you choose.
It would be even funnier if it was like halfway into the game. And they're just like, you lose, and it deletes your save. Fuck you, man. That's what you get.
You guys remember Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. R.L. Stein wrote a whole bunch of them, and I used to read when I was a kid.
Those were good.
Oh yes.
That would have been great if they just like did that for some like popular, something that's super popular. Just had like the guy get killed off and like after 3 pages because he chose the wrong path.
See, I would love to see all the Call of Duty tiers if they did that in like a Call of Duty game.
Spy Trap Volume number 6. Still stuck in my mind after all these years.
Now here's a game that I need to talk about, even though you guys haven't played it, because I've been really enjoying it lately. Borderlands 2.
Oh, that's a great game.
I heard good things about the first one.
The first one, it really is it's a good game, but it does have its shortcomings. Like the one DLC is just pretty much completely useless except for it gives you a bank to store your extra items in. I think the problems with it are that everything feels really stiff.
That's what
Like
she said.
None of the NPCs like even move from the spots
That's
that they
what she
stand in.
said.
Okay.
Continue.
None of the NPCs even move from the spots they were in. Like where they just stand in one spot and like give you quests and stuff in the first one. And everything just everything is really
Isn't that like most RPGs?
It's not an RPG. Some people will say it is, but it really isn't. Borderlands is first and foremost an open world shooter.
But isn't
And
it
it's
like
Fallout,
loot?
basically.
Like it's all loot based or
Oh,
something?
yeah, no, it's not like Fallout at all, because there's no... What really makes the Fallout games, in my opinion, or...
Giant ants.
Actually, I was going to say...
The Obsidian name behind them?
NPC interaction with NPCs and quests and, dialogue and everything and story. Whereas the gameplay really, honestly, plays second fiddle to those, I would say.
Okay. Michael Pachter said that the original Borderlands was sent to die.
Okay. Well, yeah, it kind of was. It kind of was.
No one was gonna buy it, and they had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, nobody really expected it to do well, but they really fixed like every complaint I had with the first one with this new one. They all the NPCs walk around. They like sometimes they'll talk about stuff. They'll they don't just wait for you to come talk to them and then just say some random ass. There's this one that my friends and I had this inside joke about. There's this guy, there's some sort of glitch where you'd talk to this dude that was just standing there, and he would ask, hey, you know when they're going to turn the water back on? But for some reason, no matter where you were on the map, it would come out of your screen at full volume. And it was so fun to do that to people online, because they're just like, where is that coming from? But they completely cut that kind of stuff out of the game. It's a lot more fluid, and one of the major parts of the game, as Andrex was saying, was the loot. And each gun is made by a different brand, and different brands have different like bonuses to them. Like in Borderlands 2, the brand Tediore, instead of having regular reload, basically when you reload, you throw your gun and it explodes, and then another one spawns in your hand.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it really is a lot of fun for a shooter, and it's the RPG elements of the game that really add to it, because you level up and you get extra skills and stuff, but it really doesn't go any further into role playing or anything like that. As far as like you get your stats and whatnot, but they're kind of basic. Like there's no real like customization in there, but it's a fun game.
So how do you how do you play online against other people?
You don't really play against other people. It's co-op. It's drop in, drop out too, which is really fun.
That must be nice.
Yeah, and like, you could go on and help someone do a quest, or you can trade items, or there was no trade system in the first one. That was a big bummer. So if you want to trade, you'd have to like drop weapons, and then they'd pick it up, and then.
Is there a real money auction house?
There is not. You can trade for money, though. You can, it has to be with. You can only have. There's no like online between a whole bunch of people. There's just 4 people per game, and those are the only people you interact with.
That reminds me. I really want a new Crystal Chronicles game. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay,
I was thinking about Crystal Chronicles the other day.
The music is so good.
Go ahead.
Didn't the one on the Wii like totally bomb because it was just waggling?
The single player game, you mean? Crystal Bearers? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a bomb. But
Wait
that was
a minute.
like...
There's an online component?
No.
Oh.
Wait. There was an online Crystal Chronicles game, and it was for DS. In fact, Steph and I played it a couple times. It was Echoes of Time. And that was a pretty good game, but the online lag was horrible. But it was actually really good. It had like your appearance changed based on the armor you wore. It's 4-player. Everybody could use magic or whatever. It had a pretty good story. Nothing too cheesy. Pretty well done. The dungeons, though, they had like some puzzles that were kind of really dumb. But yeah, when I say I want a new Crystal Chronicles, I want one like the GameCube one, and they might actually be able to do it with the Wii U. But I've been told by some Square experts that the director of the original game, if he doesn't want to do a new Crystal Chronicles, then it's not going to get made. Because I think in Japanese development, what it really comes down to is, creators of a series really have a lot of ownership over them. Even if like the company owns the IP and they can do whatever they want with it, they're not going to really usually go against the creator's wishes, which is why we haven't seen like Mother 4 or anything, because Itoei doesn't want to really.
Unless they're Capcom. One. If they're Capcom, they'll just be like, "Fuck you, we're making 1 billion of them."
Capcom's a Western company in Japanese clothes, or Japanese company in Western clothes.
In KJ and Ifune's case, it's more like now that you've left the company, fuck you, we're canceling all of your games.
No, I think they were saying "fuck you" to him before he left the company, and that's what made him leave.
Yeah, I would definitely say that was probably.
It's just they couldn't cancel his games because he was like president of a whole bunch of stuff at that point.
He was complaining about them even beforehand, because he used to complain. I mean, he was big on companies in North America basically overtaking Japan, saying they're the ones with the new technologies. We're too stagnant. We're relying on the same old thing in Japan. North America, basically in Europe, they know what they're doing, and it pissed off a lot of people in Japan when he said that. So he was already on like rocky terms with the people there.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, in his eyes, he didn't think some of his developers were cutting it, and he was very public about that. So that probably didn't earn him many friends.
What's the game he's working on now? They just announced he was working on like some big thing. Like 3-4 days ago.
Ninja Gaiden Z, which looks pretty cool because it's a cel-shaded Ninja Gaiden. So.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden has never really appealed to me. I've tried playing the first one, but it's really not very. It's gratuitous and it's really not very fun.
Yeah.
By the first one, you mean the one from the arcade, from the Master?
Oh no, I'm at Sigma. I'm at Sigma on the PS3. Okay. I mean, I'm talking about the new series. How they're good. The whole.
I do want to try out the NES games, even though I probably would never beat them in a million years.
They are very good, actually. Believe it or not. They hate you. They will punish you, but they are a good game. So.
I found that I can beat any game as long as it has infinite continues. Like, as long as if you get a game over and don't get sent back to the start of the game, I will eventually beat that game.
I think the first two have infinite continues, and then the third one I think they give you like 3 or 4.
Yeah. I think I heard that from the Angry Nerds review.
I'm trying to did he review them? I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember now
it was
because
a
I
pretty good
actually have
episode.
all, but I can't recall how many continues there were.
But yeah, I've been making my way through Castlevania, the NES game, making
The original?
headway. It's like I die like a million times, and then I
Those
finally
Medusa
beat the
heads,
boss and
right?
get to the next level. What was that?
The Medusa heads bugging you?
Not yet, or maybe they already did and I got past them.
I'm trying to remember who the 4th level boss was. That one was a pain for me.
I think I just beat the 4th level one.
Is that the Grim Reaper?
No, he's like the second to last one, I think.
The memory's not so good anymore. You know?
Yeah.
The medication does that to me. It takes away my brain. My diabetes medication, in case you're curious.
Right. You mean insulin, basically?
It's not insulin, it's actually, but it helps my pancreas create insulin.
Ah.
And I forgot to take it tonight.
Ah.
But that's
Sounds
okay,
like an
because I didn't have
unnecessary extra step.
Yeah. Well, my doctor told me if I lost some weight, I would he'd take me off the medicine, you know, as long as if I could show that I didn't need to rely on it, you know. And then I lost 30 pounds, and then he said, no, you're doing good because you're on the medicine. Let's keep you on that for a while. So, okay, all right.
So Sony's actually announced a new system they're coming out with.
I saw that.
The PS3 Super Slim, and it removes.
Is that what it's called?
I think that's the terminology IGN's been using.
Why does it look so bad?
It looks like a VHS player.
It looks pretty bad. I mean,
it looks like a 70s, 80s like Atari era type of.
It's a VHS.
I thought we had all agreed that slot loading was like the way to go, and like we had all standardized on that, except for Microsoft.
VHS looking, it's Betamax looking.
Speaking of Betamax, wasn't that a Sony format?
Yes, that's why I said that.
Ah. But
I may actually buy a new PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Slim. Does anybody have the Slim?
Which one?
No, I have my old
Slim.
I got my fat 80 gig that can still play.
You get
PS2 games.
So you have like the one that's got the emulation for it?
Yeah, it's got the SD card slot, all that stuff.
I think the Slim looks pretty good, actually.
I have the crappy 80 gig one. So.
The problem with the Slim was it was like not much smaller than the other ones,
right?
At all.
Like it had a bunch of surface area.
Yeah.
Well, the Slim is the top loader, right?
No, it's got a.
I mean, I'm sorry, the PS2 Slim is the top loader. Doesn't it have like the top that pops out and then you pop it in, like the original PS1?
I'm not sure actually.
No, I don't think that's the case.
You can't find them anywhere, and they've actually gone up in price because now it looks like, I don't know if Sony's officially discontinued them finally, but apparently there's a store that has like one copy of it locally, and I'm
Toys R Us?
No, actually at Walmart, one of the Walmarts I went and looked. I found it on their website and it said limited availability in stores, and I kept putting in different zip codes around my area until I found one, and it was like, yours has one in stock.
The PS2 Slim was a top loader. It had a hinge one, so it didn't the cover doesn't slide open like the new PS3. It pops open.
I would have loved to have had that TV with the built-in PS2.
Didn't they come out with the one that had a built-in PS3? They made a big deal about it at E3.
I know in
PlayStation TV.
Well, there was that one that was supposed to be like a gamer-only one with like 3D. That's specifically made for the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one you're thinking of, maybe?
No, they announced it at E3. Was it this E3 or last E3? The PlayStation TV or something. I don't know.
What would be awesome is if they could just put like every PlayStation console in the one thing.
It'd be awesome if Sony could take like all their technology and put it like into one super product, like PlayStation TV that also is a phone somehow, and
it's got 3D Blu-ray PlayStation PSP add-on Vita thing with the phone, and it also what it also did. It's an MP3 player, and
It's
Yeah,
got
yeah,
the
yeah.
PlayStation Eye built into it.
And it has motion controls like move and
It can track you everywhere in the house, and it knows how to lock doors from the outside.
I mean,
so
does anyone have a clear idea of what Sony's doing these days? Because it doesn't seem like.
do you know what? Do you know why I like Sony? I wouldn't consider myself a fanboy at all. Whatever you can. I used to be, but I'm really not anymore.
Right.
If I was, I wouldn't have gotten a Wii. But
You have a Wii?
yes, I have a
When
Wii.
did this happen?
He
I've
was
had a
born.
Wii for a while. You know, I've been post-op for I don't know.
You're keeping yourself
Year and a
hip
half?
with the kiddies, you know.
Yeah. But anyhow, what I really appreciate about Sony is that they do listen to their consumers when it comes to games.
Hmm.
Like they seem to understand what kind of games that a PlayStation owner is looking for,
Hmm.
and
Come on,
they
Smash
fund.
Brothers. You got it.
The Last
Well,
Guardian.
a lot of people
Oh,
were
wait.
asking for that for years now.
They were.
And then now it finally comes, and they're just like, who the fuck wants that? That's stupid.
Well, Sony put Nintendo in their actual tagline on YouTube. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, maybe you might not want to do that. I don't know. Oh, did you hear they fired? Apparently they fired like their PR people.
They fired one of the people from Tester. I heard.
That's funny. That's very funny.
Like
And
one of the
the-
winners.
That's awesome. But because
I actually know what you're talking about, which is kind of surprising.
But I actually watched the first part of the third season just because Ego Raptor was on there. As soon as he got kicked off, I'm like, well, I'm dropping this show. But anyhow,
He probably made out pretty well by not winning.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
it was still pretty funny though. He felt like the most human person on the show. Everyone else felt like a walking cliche. But anyhow,
Why
well,
didn't G4 ever
funny.
pick that show up?
what?
Why didn't G4 ever pick up that show?
Because G4 isn't about games. Louis.
I mean,
funded.
yeah,
It
but
was funded. They were doing
the
the whole
block lasted 2 seasons. I mean, surely this could have made it a little bit farther.
thing.
Do you know they're shutting down Spooie? I mean,
We don't know what they're doing yet. I mean, they could. I heard they're going to be less tech, so now they're going to change from 2 shows to 1, right?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't care.
But anyhow, as I was saying, what I really appreciate about Sony is that they are willing to fund a game that like is not like your typical game, really. Like I really appreciate
They're
that
not- They're
so
not-
many like games that have gotten made for the Sony brand that really I can't see them having any life on like the Xbox or the Wii, honestly.
They're not unique in that aspect. I mean, how.
I guess it doesn't make them unique, but I appreciate that they are doing that because I don't know, like that game company, the guys who made Flow, Flower, and Journey.
Mhm.
You know, like, I feel like Journey is probably one of the as far as visual narrative goes, it's probably one of the like most engaging games of this generation. As far as like, there's no real story. But if you fill in the blanks yourself, it really feels like an experience, and I'm just glad that I was able to play that game, and that Sony saw the opportunity in that game company to fund their games. Same with like the Pixel Junk series.
Now,
which is-
wait a second. Weren't you saying on the boards earlier today that if a developer's games don't sell, they shouldn't exist?
That was Chad. I don't agree with that at all.
I thought you said you agreed with him.
No, I said I agreed about Platinum Games not being so special.
Well, which games of theirs have you played?
Bayonetta and Vanquish.
Really? And you still weren't impressed after those?
I don't think that they're very I don't think anything to talk about, to be
I
honest.
almost bought Vanquish one time,
It
and
was
then I
Meek Me's
realized
game. How can you not like a game by
Listen,
my Meek Me?
I don't know, but listen, Spooey, I think it would be easier if you just said whenever you didn't almost buy or did buy game. Like, if you don't have the game, you can say something. If you do, we'll just assume that you have it. Or at
well,
least
I have so many games. It's like when I decide to not buy a game, that's actually kind of newsworthy.
We're gonna have a G-Form reunion one of these days. We're all gonna show up at Spooey's house, and it's just gonna be like every room is gonna be like crammed full of game discs in boxes, and
And Andrex is gonna say to me, "What are these?
I'd be like,
You
dude,
put them into the machine?
you
How?
could have just
You can't
bought them and
Wi-Fi
downloaded
them into
them.
the machine?"
And I'll be like, this is why I don't buy game discs anymore.
Well, you know what? All these used games I probably have now. I'm quite sure I probably have equal to or probably not more than the number of games I bought new over the years for PlayStation 2
Hmm.
in used games that I've acquired in the last 5 weeks, and it's less size probably than a GameCube.
What's less than size than a GameCube?
All the games that I bought in those little sleeves, those used games,
oh,
Oh, you
I
bought
have
the sleeves, did you?
the sleeves. I could never buy a game in a sleeve.
Yeah.
It would make me feel dirty.
I actually, well, here's the great thing, because now Kumi explained to me apparently that the ones that come in the cases are like $4 to $5 more than the ones in the sleeves.
This
At
is
least.
true.
This is minimum. And the only reason that I guess that they started putting them in the sleeves, just putting them out there, is because people were bringing so many of them in that they didn't want to bother putting them in cases and printing the labels out. So they just said, we'll just throw them out here. So all their like $5 and under stuff is in the sleeves.
You see, I
But
feel bad enough as it is buying a used game. I mean, it's I rarely do it, and it's usually for a game I can't find new. It's just, I mean, I don't really buy new games from GameStop anyways, unless it's like brand new, 'cause they still take it out of the case, and then oh, I want to buy this game. They go behind the counter and pop it back in. It's like, what the hell, dude? Um,
Yeah, the fact that they get their games is kind of.
I asked them once for a game, and I said, "Do you have a new copy of this?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Is it sealed?" And I said, "Oh yeah, we got that one in the back." And then he walked to the back, and 5 minutes later, he came out with like one with a very flimsy shrink wrap on it. But the oddest thing was the price sticker for the game was underneath the wrapping. I can't quite figure out how that works. I mean, maybe it's a special one specifically for that store that the company printed.
yeah, probably.
But wait, back to what I was saying about the whole, how I respect Sony for doing that. I respect Nintendo for doing that for Platinum too.
Yeah.
But no, but like I'm not gonna play the game. But there are people who do want to play the game, and I respect that they see this game. That it's a risk. They're taking a risk with this.
Hmm.
But the game is getting made for the people who want to play it. And
Honestly, I think it's more of a strategic decision for Nintendo. I don't think they actually expect anything from Bayonetta. I think maybe close to 20% of development was done, maybe more, um, before Sega canceled it. Um, but I just think Nintendo's using it as like a show of goodwill to get closer to Platinum. Um, because Sakurai, he's good friends with people there. Um, I don't know. It just seems like Nintendo is focusing on making a lot of strategic deals with like mid-size and small scale Japanese developers, because really what it comes down to is a lot of these developers had a hard time adjusting to this generation. I mean, we can laugh at it all we want, but Japanese development has lost a lot of prestige, I guess, or
Yeah.
importance
And yeah, I can
in the
totally
international
see.
games industry. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can totally see how that makes sense, especially since if they want the Wii U to succeed in places where, like, I mean, the Wii was, of course, a huge profit for
Right.
them. But if they want to the Wii U to succeed in places where the Wii had shortcomings, they really do need to tack down that whole third-party support.
Right, exactly. And I think they see Japan as the place where they can most easily win. I mean, I do, because instead of 3 people competing, it's 2 people. It's them versus Sony in Japan. Um, and if they get, a bunch of Japanese developers, maybe they won't be as relevant to an international audience, but they can still have like a home base while they try to, you know, succeed in the other territories. And it's kind of working out so far with the 3DS. Like the 3DS is selling kind of okay here and in Europe. It's selling like slightly above what the DS was, which is good. But the DS had like a major, hockey stick, to use chart terminology, hockey stick sales when the DS Lite and NSMB hit. So it's kind of like nobody expects that to happen for the 3DS, but in Japan the 3DS is selling quite well, and that's on the back of Monster Hunter and some other smaller Japanese games. But yeah.
Well, see, I think when it comes down to it, the whole 3DS not selling as highly as it you'd think it would over here in the US, it really comes down to the rise of mobile gaming. Because let's be honest here, a lot of people who bought the original DS were just looking for some something to kill time while they were on the daily commute or just dicking around wherever, and that whole void has been filled by like games and apps on the Android or the iPod.
Right.
And I think this is probably a controversial statement, but I think that's why, if in the end, the Vita is going to end up doing better than it is, because the people who get the Vita are like the core audience of the Vita are people who want to play like full games on a handheld. There really isn't any audience for mini games on the Vita at all.
I don't think there's an audience for full games on a handheld, period. I think handheld games have to be handheld games.
They have to build that audience. That's the thing. That's why it's not selling very well. Is because of just that. Yes, but I think it's there. I think it is. But it's not. It could possibly get bigger one day, but yeah, it's not really a thing right now. So
we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, I definitely agree that the casual gamers that Nintendo capitalized on, they're not coming back, and it's pretty clear that Nintendo realizes that. I mean, if you look at like their E3s, like when they were selling the most Wii's, the most DS's, their E3 conferences were pretty terrible. Like 2007, 2008. 2009 was good, kind of.
2009 had Cammie Dunaway.
She was kind of off in the back room somewhere most of the time during that.
No, wasn't 2008 and 9 both of her stage conference ones?
Yeah, but she wasn't really that apparent in 2009.
My dog likes to play this game. Let's go skiing. I hurt my wrist, but I can ski without actual skis using Wii Ski.
That was E3 2008, spooie. What was it?
My cat doesn't like playing these games. I hear talking in the background.
Yes, so do I.
Oh, sorry, my window's open. It's getting warm in here.
Just tell him to shut up. It's okay.
I'm like on the 5th floor.
If we find the dead body tomorrow, we'll explain everything we're doing after.
Spooie, I'm no killer.
No, I meant tell them to shut up, and if we find your dead body tomorrow.
Ah. I'm not a fan of being killed either.
Okay. Unless it makes for comic videos on YouTube. Going back to the whole Bayonetta thing with the audience, I didn't really have a chance to jump in here, so I just want to, give me 1 second here.
Sure.
When I was growing up, the games I remember most on Game Boy were basically things I could just pick up and go, or something that I could beat in like an hour. That was the gaming experience. and they had the replayability to where you want to just keep picking up and playing it again. And I agree that I think that's basically what's going on now. People, you're basically cramming a console game into a handheld game, and a lot of the people that are playing this are just playing this around their house. And it's like, why not just use it on the console, on your big screen TV? People are buying things, you know, for like their phones or whatever, their tablets, because for the most part they could just pick it up and go. You know, you don't have to sit there and play it for like 9 hours to like be like, oh, I accomplished something in this game, you know? That, I think, is what the market needs to kind of realize, you know. No one's going to, you know, even, you got to come out with like budget titles too. I mean, you can't have like a $40, you know, 30-minute game. But that's another reason why all these games are selling. They're like, you know, a couple dollars. They're short things you could just pop in and play whenever you need to. That was what I was going to say for the handhelds. For Bayonetta, I think Bayonetta 2 is probably... It may not have blown up as big as... Nintendo might not have thought they were going to get the biggest reaction out of it that actually happened. But it's one of the smartest moves they could have done because, you know, they want to try to get the third parties back. They want to try to get back the core audience that they, you know, relied on.
That was my point a couple minutes ago.
Pre-Wii systems, you know, and of course we know they're getting Batman, we know they're getting Mass Effect, they're getting Call of Duties, you know, all the, you know, the standard things of the systems, you know. But now they have like this niche title that we know there's an audience for that exists. Doesn't necessarily, you know, it might not necessarily be like a billion seller, but we know there's a specific audience for it, and the specific audience for it is the exact type of people that they want buying the system from another system.
And it's exclusive.
No one's going to go out and buy the Wii U who already has a 360 or a PS3 to get any of those games. You know, Batman, Call of Duty. They're going to buy it for Bayonetta 2 and games like that, games that they know they're good, they've already experienced, but they can't get anywhere else.
It was a very good strategic move. Now, when Mega Man Legends 3 comes out specifically for the Wii U, then
I will harm you.
Ryan, can we talk about this for a second? Because, I don't know, I think deleting the thread was a little extreme.
I got mad. And I acted irrationally.
I mean, maybe lock the thread, but
I've maybe in my entire life I've done that joke linking to that specific thing maybe twice in my entire life.
Well, okay. Well, I apologize, but I got mad.
I've used that experience as kind of like the butt of my own jokes, you know, on the forums the last couple of weeks. So it's perfectly fine. I wish, you know, I would have liked to have duped like a couple more people on the forum. Maybe.
I don't think you would have duped anybody because everybody knows that Mega Man Legends 3 is gone, except for some of its assets, which live on in
as some
X-Trooper.
Crappy whatchamacallit, yeah.
EX Trooper.
Well, that would have been the perfect. Because the only time you're ever going to pull it off is like the launch of a system. Somebody's just announced. Like
Yeah.
That, you know, and it's like we know supposedly they were working on it for 3DS. Was it the DS or the 3DS?
The 3DS.
So we know there's some asset out there, and you know, you never know. Maybe Nintendo might have said to them, "Hey, by the way, here's some little money here. You know, why don't you go and finish that up for us?"
But I think what really made the whole Mega Man Legends 3 thing feel like such a slap in the dick was that Capcom first said, like, here it comes, it's a game you've all been waiting for, you know, it's definitely coming. And then, you know, like, we're even gonna let you, you know, be involved in it. And you know, then they make this demo for the Japanese 3DS store that you have to pay money for.
Well, yeah.
And then they're just like, you know what?
You're not even going to get it.
Doing it because it's all you guys' fault because you weren't involved enough. they canceled this game that we were all so excited for and then blamed us for it.
Yeah, it's great.
And which is essentially the biggest fuck you can ever give to your fans.
And playing into that, the idea that they wouldn't even put out the prototype version, I mean, it was like weeks from release. Like they could have released the prototype and gotten like some money out of that. But no, they just didn't even want to do that. They were just,
Well, I like the fact that the prototype, they didn't even promise the game would ever come out.
Yeah.
Just like, buy this and, it may lead to the game coming out someday,
Yeah.
And then they complained about the lack of people on, like, the US forums.
Yeah.
Interested in it, because they weren't talking about going out and buying the demo.
Freaking Capcom. On the other hand, new Monster Hunter for Wii U and 3DS is coming out. Freaking awesome.
Listen, Capcom are pieces of shit. I'm just gonna say this right now.
Monster Hunter?
Because they'll release a game, and then 2 weeks later they'll release a special edition with like a whole bunch of shit you can't buy without get without buying the special edition. They're like, we're gonna add this stuff in here to this version, but you can't buy it extra on the Xbox Live or PlayStation Store because that would be too simple. You have to go out and buy the whole new game. Like they did, I think they did that with Super Street Fighter and the new Marvel vs. Capcom.
Right.
And
but that's just kind of part of the course for fighting games, I think.
I never buy full price games anymore.
See, I don't buy. I've never been into fighting games, but it's still a bull crap move.
Yeah.
I don't know. Capcom is the douche of the Japanese developing world right now.
I don't know what they're gonna do next gen. Like, it seems like they have like no cohesive strategy whatsoever. And even RE6, like the demo impressions for that aren't great. I was looking forward to it, but it's like 2/3 of the game looks like stuff I wouldn't want to play. Like, I want to play as Leon with zombies and have something resembling a horror game, not this balls out Call of Duty ripoff.
Yeah.
Who?
They're ruining Resident Evil. They're doing all that.
They killed
Can
Mega
anybody
Man.
name a developer that works at Capcom still? They've all left, basically. They've had like 5, 6 main developers in the last
I don't know
how many years, probably 6, 7 years, leave the company and form their own companies.
Ono's still there, although is he at what's the company that helped out with Street Fighter 4? What am I thinking of?
It's not Akira, is it? Is that the name of the company? Or something like that?
No, it's
They worked on the EX games, I remember.
Some kind of like they worked for Nintendo a couple times too.
Is it Flagship?
No, it wasn't Flagship. Dimps.
Dimps.
That's who it was.
That would have been my second guess.
Alright guys, I need to abruptly cut us short because I have something to do at 12.
Okay.
It's 12!
Yes. Thank you both for showing up. I'm glad we got to talk about Abyss and Wii U and PS3, Sony, Elijah Woods, dog screwing stuff, Thank you both.
That was before the show.
No, that was the show. Dog screwing is always the show. There's no before the show. That's the show.
Yes, we screw
Tune
the
in next
pooch
week to find
on
out what
every-
happens with Andrex Dog.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Alright.
Alright,
Good night, guys.
have a nice evening, and remember to feed the dog.
Okay.
Something.
Feed the dog
Food.
what?
Food, feed the dog food.
Penis.